Coming out this way, did y'all?
What does it take to change someone's life? What happens when you take a kid who only knows the inner city and introduce them to life outside? What happens when you challenge them to get comfortable with the uncomfortable? Discover the rewards of hard work. Realize opportunities they never knew existed. And don't just give them the fish, but teach them to fish. Would they survive it? Thrive in it? Can you grow a flower from the concrete? What does it take to change someone's life? Or better yet, who?
People say that we sacrifice our time and they think that we're crazy because we deal with kids 24/7. I think it's a passion. It's not a sacrifice. If we don't start now, when do we start?
There's a huge problem in our country, in our world, with those that don't have. You're getting a chance to experience things right now that some don't. What are you going to do with those opportunities?
There are lots of pieces to the puzzle when it comes to addressing an issue that we've been trying to tackle for years and years and years. The trouble with change, the trouble with education, is a long-term systemic commitment. Long-term. And most people are not willing to make that commitment. If you can put yourself in an environment that's uncomfortable and figure out how to make yourself comfortable, you can begin to open up your mind to learn. Well, my name is Leon McNeil. I run an organization known as City Kids Adventures. It's a mentoring program for inner city kids designed to get them away from asphalt and concrete and experience a lot of the natural world. I mean, we've been at this now for 27 years, and we have some ups, we have some downs, we have some successes, we have some kids that are not so successful. But ultimately, you start to see that change. You start to see the kids have opportunities. A lot of times, kids don't even realize an opportunity because they've never left their neighborhood.
I guess that's what we aim to do at City Kids, is expose them in things that are real part of life. If you can expose it to them when they're young, they develop habits and understanding how to deal with it. And then you go up to college or you get away from home, and then you get to try out what you've learned.
We want to produce productive members of society. City Kids is an outdoor mentoring program that these kids get to learn from each other as well as from nature, which develops a well-rounded person.
City Kids and the impact that it's having, especially on the inner city youth, is incredible.
They created something with no formal training, just a deep desire to impact the lives of kids.
Being with all these kids, it has just blossomed into something so beautiful, and it's like a beautiful flower.
Growing up, I didn't have a lot of positive influences. I saw my parents argue a lot. My dad drank. I remember I'd hear gunshots. My neighbor got killed in a drive-by right down the street. Not really good places. The 8th grade happened, and over a girl, I do a bunch of dumb, stupid things, and I try to end my life. They sat me down, and they told me, okay, if you want to do this, if you really want to do that, if that's really what you want to do, stand up and tell the group that's what you're going to do. And I couldn't stand up. I just sat there and I took it and I'm like, hey, I can't do that.
There's always someone watching, no matter where you're at, what you're doing. If I excel in things, if I start bettering myself, that kid's going to look at me and he's going to know, okay, Bebe's doing that, okay, I could do that. My why is that kid looking up to me. That's my why.
And without the program there to actually help me through that, I honestly don't think I'd be alive.
I'm like, yeah, here we go. I don't know why I did this.
What was so unique, I think I learned about Leon, just the arc of his life story was radically changed because one or two people cared.
My childhood was like a lot of the kids in our program. Divorce home, single parent home, never really stable environment. I was pretty much reduced to my neighborhood. My dad went away and out of the blue, he called and said, hey, I'm here to pick you up. Didn't tell my mom and came to Texas. That was a pretty traumatic experience for me. My life just kind of spiraled out of control. He got sent away, basically spent the summer just trying to get my basic needs taken care of. When he got out, we had a pretty severe falling out and I had to leave. I had to get out. I viewed sports as the only avenue to get me into school.
And he was a star athlete. His dad decided that he doesn't want him to participate in football.
Leon was already at my office. He was crying. Coaches cannot have athletes living with them. He had nowhere to go. So I talked to my wife and my kids, and he stayed with me for a year. I couldn't turn my back on someone that wanted to be a successful person in life.
You don't have a say-so in the type of life you're born into, but you do have a say-so in the type of life you choose to lead. To not keep going wasn't an option.
He was forced to make certain decisions about his life early. He believed in hard work.
I made it through, and they gave me a profound piece of advice. That was, keep working hard, son, and the rest will take care of itself. I applied that to everything I knew in my life. I'm just thankful and blessed that they gave me a chance and that they didn't discard me or give up on me like so many kids in our inner city today, which is why we do what we do.
City Kids just basically changed the definition of work for me. Yes, you're working, you're moving kayak, putting up rocks, you're doing a bunch of other activities. There's a reward after. Being able to see that reward continuously throughout the program, it's an essential part. Yes, it might be tiring, but it's actually super rewarding, and that's just me now. I don't really see it as work.
Hard work, leadership, dedication, all of those characteristics, all those attributes have so many rewards I cannot explain to you.
Coach has so many sayings, he has so many euphemisms and everything like that.
Hard work has many rewards.
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 Hard work has many rewards. The kids don't necessarily get a monetary reward. They get a reward that sometimes they will never even see until 10, 15 years down the road. We've known this ranch owner for 20 years. He's a gem of a person. Make sure you give him your undivided attention. That's just a sign of respect. We will make sure. You see how clean this place is? He's a conservationist. He wants it to stay that way. That's the reason why we're able to come out here, because we take care of it. This opportunity you guys have is a privilege.
The hard work has many rewards. I think what Leon and Letitia are doing with these kids is sometimes that reward might not manifest for 2 or 3 years. And you got to give to get. I've seen it over all these years, and it works.
The reward that the kids knew was that we're going to come out here, we're going to help this landowner do a little project, and then we're going to have a chance to go fishing and camping. That ultimate reward gives them an opportunity to keep going.
Nature can teach these kids that. Hard work and the rewards, there's a growth pattern. The youngest kid here is 5th grade. The oldest is a senior in high school. They're growing through this process.
As long as you have a great work ethic and you show everyone that you will work for what you receive, is like all you really need to kind of push on in the world and become the person that you want to be. City Kids has showed me so much. It given me so many examples of what can happen and what I can achieve by myself. Even though I'm a female, I'm a minority, like it throws that all out the window.
You have to be able to clean up, leave the site better than when we got there. You need to make sure you're respectful. You need to make sure you use appropriate language at all times. Those are things that you want to try and do to get our kids moving in the right direction and get back to where we need to be. This is not a government program. There are things that you have to be able to do
to participate. That's our way of saying thank you to the state for providing these beautiful beaches that people can mess up. We're gonna take care of that.
Honestly, I would have never gotten to where I am without CKA and everything that they showed me. I'm a senior graduating and I'm going to Texas A&M College Station on a full ride scholarship.
He's been such a good role model for CKA. He doesn't know, I'm telling him now, he's gonna receive another $8,000 scholarship for his school.
Thank you, Coach. Oh my God.
I had my high school coaches take care of me, and they poured their lives into me when they didn't have to. As we patterned and founded our program, that's our way of saying thank you. I'd be a sad statistic if it weren't for them. And you see it all the time in the inner city. You see, nobody cares. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Here today, gone tomorrow, I'm getting what I can get when I need to get it. Life is not like that. My high school coaches got me into college, gave me a chance to get a football scholarship. It was Abilene Christian University. It was totally different from the environment that I grew up in. I learned all the negative aspects of life because that's all my environment offered. And so I started to think that that's the way the world was until I got to Abilene Christian and everybody was loving. And that comparison is what fundamentally shaped this thing we call City Kids today.
It's hard to understand what progress is when you haven't seen a lot of people make it. If your environment never changes, what do you have to offer?
What do you learn?
What do you learn from that environment? That's why we do what we do. Define what progress means to you, and you can understand what it can go out and mean for the rest of the world.
I know that I credit who I am today to the McNeils, absolutely 100%. Everything they did was foreign to me. I didn't know anything outside of the city. They've taught me a way of life that, I wouldn't have changed for the world.
This, to me, is the essence of City Kids. Giving the kids an opportunity to be in different environments, learn from different folks that are 180, the environment they come from, 180, the people they meet. You try and teach the kids that, hey, it does matter.
At least more.
I've always known that I didn't want to live the life that my family has lived, going to prison, getting pregnant at a young age, being able to see what else is out there in the world, like all these beautiful places with my own eyes is this totally different experience, and it shows that it can be done, and this is a real life example in how it can be possible.
We were in Yellowstone, in Sunday Sun. Out there you see the little dip, you see a bunch of trees. Mountains in the background fade off. You feel the sun, you feel the wind on your back, and it sounds like a river nearby. That view was amazing. That view was the best thing I've seen in my life. Nothing else can compare to that one view of the way I felt when I saw that view.
I think my background now with City Kids and then growing up, it was diverse enough that I could relate to a lot more people, whereas if I just had the background where I came from. The social interactions that I have as an adult now, hearing people talk about fishing, camping, hunting, being able to pick up on that conversation, like, oh yeah, like I do that as well. This is what I enjoy about it, and these are the places that I've been. It helps really build, one, your network, but it helps build relationships.
The new kids, the expectation, there's a certain standard to be in this program. This is not an all for nothing program. We want y'all to have a good time while y'all are here, but the important thing is we want y'all to come back. We want y'all to have these other experiences. We want y'all to get to know the other kids.
Again, kudos to Jeremiah. The trick to it is to give back to you guys that are coming up so he can be an example, a positive example of what that looks like.
We say this all the time, if your environment never changes, what do you learn from that environment? Whatever it has to offer. Hunting's an opportunity to change our kids' environment.
When we first started, hunting was our main activity that we did with the kids because we felt that would teach the kids a lot of responsibility. The kids have learned conservation, care for a firearm, and the animal itself.
When you hear of hunting with our kids, it's a misconception. It's actually an oxymoron because you're taking kids from a violent environment and you're right in the middle of extreme violence. Why would you do that? It's just your perception of what danger is and what it means to you. And so what it means to us is a learning opportunity.
There. Good shot right there. After you fire your shot, do you load another shell? Who do you wait to tell you that? The guy. So guys, after they shoot a shot, they're waiting on you to tell them to put another projectile in. They're not gonna load another shell and try and take another shot. They're gonna wait for you to say make that call. You say load another shell, they're gonna put another one in.
They're good at like making certain the kids hit that maturation point where they understand. Yeah, there's always talk about what we're going to be doing, what's ethical hunting, what's the proper way of harvesting game.
Before our kids can hunt, they have to go to hunter's education. We teach them all the ethics and the rules and the laws. They have to have live fire practice. They have to test out and make sure that they're proficient at shooting targets and go through the anatomy of a deer so they'll know where to make a clean and ethical harvest. Then they actually go out and start hunting and harvesting. Before they can do that, they have to be educated.
My favorite adventure is hunting for sure. So the one that really stands out is when I go hog hunting. This one time, I had been going through one of my phases where I hesitate to shoot. So there was a group of huge hogs. They were really big. So we saw it out there, but there was really high grass. So it was gonna be kind of hard to shoot it. They went away pretty quickly and then they came back. Come on, shoot about. And that's when I shot it. And it was amazing.
This tradition has its value. This is a better understanding of where your meat and wild game comes from. That's one of the things that we use our hunting program for, as well as teaching the kids a tremendous amount of responsibility.
That's the fun part, because kids will come back and tell me, oh, miss, guess what I did with my deer today, how I cooked it. They use their deer meat at home, and their parents really appreciate that a lot.
You did a really good job, because there was a couple times you was moving around, and you could have probably taken a shot, but we want to wait for the perfect shot.
When I was in college, the hunting aspect really took off for me. The recruiter took me to a gentleman's house that worked for the university. And it's probably illegal to do this now, but he told me, he said, look, if you're signed to play football and I'm in Christian, I'll take you hunting and fishing anytime you want to go. And if you graduate, I'll give you a bird dog puppy. I'm like, I don't know what a bird dog puppy is, but it sounds good to me.
Yeah, Leon always told me that I could have gone left, or I could have gone right. And someone believed in me and gave me a dog and sent me the right way.
When I graduated, I went back up to school and he said, I got a bird dog puppy for you. And it was a little 8-week-old puppy. I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with this thing now? I didn't know anything about it, and I opened up the phone book, looked up bird dog trainers. That began the relationships with a gentleman by the name of John Rabideau. And if you help me train my dog, I said, I'll work for you for nothing. I said, I just want to learn how to train my dog. I guess he saw my desire to work, and he asked me if I wanted to start taking people hunting with his dogs. He said, just pretend like you're going hunting. That's it. And then I thought, okay, I can do that. The Hope family, big quail hunters. I had a group of dogs with me. 10 minutes after I started walking, dogs are on point. Raised my head up, there they are, they're over there on point, let's go to them. And it was a thing of motion, it was beautiful.
Then we got into this conversation about, he said, what about doing a youth hunt?
25 years later, we still hunt with the Holts.
I got it. Yeah, Leah did catch it. Look at that. Perfect. All right, great job.
Now I've got my own string of dogs. I'm still running guided hunts, and I meet some amazing people that really, really believe in our mission, what we do with City Kids Adventure. When our sponsors see our kids year after year, and they've watched them transition through middle school, through high school, and getting ready to go into college, they can feel proud that they've had a hand in helping guide that kid and give them opportunities that they may not otherwise have. It truly does take a village to raise a child.
Raising money was a big issue, especially when we started at school, because we were doing little fundraisers at school, like washing cars and selling candy. And as our organization grew, we needed more equipment. Our first grant from Texas Park and Wildlife, when that money came, it was like a kid in a candy store. The money was about $50,000. It was like, oh my God, we've never had money like that. Leon being a hunting guy, He met a lot of people that were supportive of what we did and had money. And so that's the way we started. A lot of our sponsors saw that we were being honest, we were being transparent, we were doing what we said we were going to do. And I think that's what helped us build a reputation among all these people.
He came out, we were quail hunting, we're having lunch together, all just sitting at the table. It was kind of organic. Like, well, what do you do when you're not doing this? Well, I'm a teacher. And then, well, what do you do when you're not teaching or quail hunting? Oh, I like to take kids out in nature. And he starts talking about that and his passion and Letitia's to give back. It's infectious. You want to be a part of this. I mean, I've been involved for 25 years, 26 years, and I've seen the kids graduate, but then you see them come back, which is, to me, such a testament to the job that they're doing, that the kids come back.
I support City Kids because I think someone supported me at a certain time in my life, and it's part of that whole give back.
I've learned to give back what's been so freely given to me. I see the same thing in Leon. What he's given of himself to these kids, some of them don't have a chance to experience this in life, and I was given a second chance to experience what life is really about. So that's the connection between us.
What was so unique, I think I learned about Leon early on, was that everything that he and Leticia did was to the net benefit of City Kids. Like their whole passion, whether it was making a living as a coach and a teacher and a quail hunting guide, their whole focus was to empower and equip these kids that wouldn't have a chance otherwise.
Well, I've done a lot of programming with all these other groups that are impactful, and they do a great job, but they leave the office at 5. What makes City Kids different is the fact that it's like a family. Leon and Leticia and Lee Charles live it.
Abraham Ali Lopez has been accepted to WT. Give him a round of applause. As a gift, we have made you a WT package.
This whole process of building relationships, it teaches the kids to value that. And when you have these people that come in year after year after year, and they create those relationships with kids, they start to believe that.
Every single decision that we make is generally based upon a relationship that you have with someone else. Every job that I've ever had, I've gotten because of a relationship. What this organization is doing is really empowering people to understand the power of genuine relationships and how they can help each other.
One of the things that the inner city environment tells you is that relationships are not important. Here today, gone tomorrow. We live in a disposable world. Relationships are the foundation of life, the essence of what we do as human beings, the essence of the human spirit. We can't go through this thing alone. And we may think we can from time to time, but it doesn't work that way. Our program gives them an opportunity to value relationships.
You all come from the same beginning, the city. You both have the same experiences to share. You just create this strong bond that is like no other. And everyone just encourages everyone else to become better. And you have these dreams together that you want to pursue.
You learn the things that you learn when you're a child. And those things manifest themselves as scars. They come out in all different types of ways. And oftentimes you don't know that until you're older. My wife has been really, really instrumental in guiding me into becoming the man that I am today. Without her support in doing what we do, it would be just something that you talk about.
So we have three adults today.
I'm originally from the coast, South Padre Island, Portisville area. I remember growing up, I always wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to help kids because of my father. He wanted a better life for us, and he wanted to know that we were going to be able to take care of ourselves. He took us camping, fishing. He always made sure we were doing something. That's the person that really shaped the person that I am now. My dream was to become a teacher and live in San Antonio, and I've been teaching 31 years now. My third goal was get a Ferrari, but it didn't happen.
I remember I was a young teacher just out of college, and I was hired on 3 weeks before school was out. Taught the last 3 weeks of school on the west side of San Antonio, Cooper Middle School. That's where I started.
When I got there were so many problems. I was an 8th grade teacher in language arts, and I feared my kids, especially boys, because they were very aggressive.
Where Cooper Middle School was, it was in a high crime area. During that time, the mid-90s, the gangs in San Antonio were pretty high. A lot of people went to prison, a lot of people died.
I grew up in the inner city of San Antonio on the west side. Miss McNeil, she was my English teacher. I came from a single-parent home. I only had my mom, and I had 5 siblings.
I wanted to learn more about the kids in that community. I was new to the neighborhood. They didn't know who I was. I was tested every day. And over a period of time, people started to realize that I was there for real, and I was going to be there. The next year, kids remembered me from the summer, so we started building relationships, and I coached. Last game of football season, we had 11 players on our team. It takes 11 players to play. The last game of the season, one kid broke his leg. We ended up having 10 players, and we had to forfeit. I made a pact to 35 7th graders.
If you played all 4 sports, he would take us camping at the end of the year.
I went back to what I knew in college, which changed my life, which was the outdoors. And so we had 35 guys start, and we had 33 guys finish. And so we took 33 boys and a parent, and we camped out on the Guadalupe River. And it was mind-numbing. It was life-altering to see the way those kids responded to the wild environment and open spaces, like they were caged animals that just been released, and they were just out having an amazing time. And so from that moment on, I knew that they were just like me. But this difference is they have an opportunity when they're in middle school. And so if I can start now, by the time they get to high school, they're not gonna have those barriers. They're not gonna have those apprehensions about being around different people in different environments, because the environment's gonna change. And so the next year, attractive young teacher came on to our campus. She kind of found out what we were doing.
And he was very amazed to know the Hispanic woman, educated, loved the outdoors. When he found that, I was like, he couldn't believe it.
Wow, female, that's pretty impressive.
And my girls would always tell me, we never play all the sports. Well, we go out partying, we go out drinking and all that. I said, oh my God, especially if you're gonna be my athletes, I don't think so. Leon found the same responses, and it was something that we had to come together.
And so she decided she'd want to take the girls.
It went from 24 kids to I think like 100.
She said, well, you want to go camping? And I'd never in my life slept in a tent, so I said, sure.
She invited me to the program. I was a little hesitant. I loved it. I couldn't imagine life without it now.
So next year we ended up having 76 kids in Port Aransas. That was the beginning stages of what we call today Camp Hawkeye.
Choose to take all the negative things that I've experienced in my life, growing up as a kid, through my adult life, and turn it into a situation that's gonna hopefully make me better. Flip the script. We can all be bitter. We can all be sad. We can all be mad about the things that are going on in the world. But you gotta ask yourself, is that gonna really make you better? We're at Camp Hawkeye right now, what we call our founding camp. We've been at this now. This will be the 27th year we've done this camp. It's pretty special to us because it started, this thing we call City Kids. We come down here every year. The kids come down on a big bus. We camp out on the beach, and most of them, hadn't dealt with sand and uncomfortable. Sand will be in every orifice of their body. It's always a great time to see them learn and learn about themselves. So yeah.
The camping and the fishing and all that stuff, it was just like, hey, there's more for us than just the hood. There's more than what we know. Starting fires, how to put up a tent, stuff that I probably would have never learned had I not experienced City Kids Adventures.
Our camping program is set up as a way to give the kids to disconnect from asphalt and concrete. So the natural world is something that's pretty foreign to them. It helps us get kids to open up a little more, to be a little more aware of the things that are going on in their lives. It all gives us a nice neutral form to where the kids can kind of express themselves.
I want to be able to lead people so they can know how to give to the future.
Talking right now, to all of y'all, it's really amazing. I have Tourette's syndrome. It's why I'm shaking or twitching. When I started the program, I was just screaming. It's just embarrassing. Blurting out random noises and words, cuss words. I didn't like it. They helped me a lot with Tourette's. I've become a better person by being more helpful, being more nice to people, being more thankful, appreciated for things. My tics used to be really bad. Somehow, I've just been able to control them while I'm around them.
He told us, Mom, I love going to Big Band, and we asked him why, and he's like, there's no light. I can see thunder, I can see stars, and it's peaceful. We were in shock because normally any kid would be excited about going in the lake, kayaking, horseback riding. It's the nature. That's what impacted him.
Inner city kids don't necessarily have the opportunity to have quote unquote a true camp experience where they're kayaking, where they're fishing. Most of the camps that inner city kids typically engage in are sports related camps, basketball camps, football camps, things that they see in the inner city all the time. This gives them an opportunity to do something which involves the natural world. Some of our camps will have Texas Parks and Wildlife come out because they have a lot of information to provide for our kids, talk about careers and things like that. Kids are facing their fears on this. Most of the kids have never ridden horses and they're very, very afraid. This gets them out of their comfort zone, gets them to be aware of what they're doing, and also how to manage something that they can't control. Bless you. Facing the fears, and they learn how to ride, and some of the kids really, really enjoy it. Some of them are terrified, but it's part of it. It's what we do. Bowen says all the time, become comfortable with the uncomfortable.
You gotta learn how to become comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Become comfortable with the uncomfortable. See, when we're able to be okay with who we are and where we are, I think that allows us to adapt to any type of situation. I know I can't be the best I can be if I'm comfortable. I have to do things in order to get there.
The more that you can understand that comfort's gonna come, the more it becomes a habit, and you just focus on the mission.
The 2 times we've come here before, the water was really, really cold, that glacier melt coming off the top. We rafted down the river, and they learned a lot about themselves and fear and paying attention and working as a team. I think the fear of the unknown was more of a distraction more than anything. We passed this place where we said, you know what, it might be pretty nice for the kids to get out there and try a bridge jump. I hate cold water. That water is cold. But I say all the time, become comfortable with the uncomfortable, and what better way to demonstrate that with the kids than for me to let the kids know I don't like cold water. Jump, I swam as hard as I could, made it out, and I almost froze to death, but it was good, and the kids enjoyed it.
Holy, that was so cold.
Fear teaches you a lot of lessons. The unknown teaches you a lot of lessons. Fear shouldn't be one of those lessons. No more. It was fun to see the kids conquer that scare, though. That was ridiculous. It was well worth it, though.
My dad always says, the unknown can teach you many things, but fear should not be one of them. Once you can get okay and comfortable with the unknown, you can go anywhere, and that's why we use the outdoors.
Okay, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You're gonna be good.
Woo! Boys were counting me out, and that little kid was like, I could do it. And I was like, I could do it too.
I can't believe you did it. You should be happy.
Look deeper. At the surface, it might be way different than at the depths, and that's where change and inspiration happens, is in the depths.
Some of the biggest challenges I've had to overcome was our family. A lot of times it took a toll on our family, and along the way there is some damage that takes place that you don't realize until it's done.
We had a son to raise, and we had city kids. I think we fell short of separating both. I think that was one thing that we didn't see. It was our own son.
I'm Lee Charles McNeil, son of Mr. and Mrs. McNeil, run City Kids Adventures. I currently go to Middlebury College and I play football, currently majoring sociology and educational studies. During the school year, I'm obviously up in Vermont, but any breaks that I have during the summer, I come back and participate in City Kids. Do it because I love it.
We all saw one now. Let's go.
Like when I was a kid, it's just the life you live. That's what we preach in City Kids, is family. It was always hard for us to live that because our family was so big.
He's a well-rounded person. He's smart. He's a great kid. But he didn't have mom and dad. He feels he didn't have mom and dad. And I always ask him, what do you mean you didn't have mom and dad? Because we were always there for you. And he said, well, I wanted to do things that was just for us. And now that I think about it, I understand.
He didn't have a say-so into the life that he was born into. Dad, I don't necessarily want all these kids sleeping in my room. Dad, I don't necessarily want to go with you guys this weekend. He didn't have a say-so in that. As his parents, we tried to take a lot of that into consideration, but ultimately, there's only so much you can do. To watch him sometimes struggle with that was hard for his mom and I.
And we always say, well, you had the time of your life, we gave you everything, but that's not exactly what they want. And I think that was our sacrifice right there.
When you're a kid, you always want more. You're never content with what you have, especially when you see other people who have something different. But then it was like, well, these kids need them more. So that was always like weighing on me. Like, they have a lot less than you. And I absorbed that giving, selfless, and now I want to learn the things that I didn't know.
Lee Charles uniquely has extremely high social IQ, and he just demonstrates and personifies grace. You could always count on him to be just the steady voice of reason. I remember thinking, God, this is one of the most remarkable kids. You know, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Lee Charles is a well-loved individual by his parents, and they've raised him in a way to understand that it's not just about you, but it's about what we can do for others. And they instilled that at an early age with Lee Charles. Mom and Dad have always shared with him, hey, it may not be fair, but life isn't fair.
In my heart, I would hope that it would just take a matter of time for him to be old enough to understand why his mom and dad did what we did.
Most of you guys know Lee Charles and you know him really well, but you new kids that don't know him, he's our son. We love him to death. He's an amazing young man to his dad, even though sometimes I can be a little harsh, but we're ecstatic about the choices that he's made to do the things that he does with you guys, that he chooses to be here. It is a tremendous amount of pressure on my wife and I trying to raise our son in a program like this. But we also knew the rewards and the benefits of giving so many kids opportunities and the experiences that would enrich his life as well. So when he gets to the age that he's at right now and beyond, he's an amazing individual.
Now that he's older, he kind of talks to us about it. Going off for college at first, he was mad. He wanted to leave as far as he could away from us in City Kids.
A year and a half ago, I wanted to get about as far away as I could. And for some reason, I couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake it.
But as he was away, he saw what he was missing. And he said, I can't wait till I get to do what y'all are doing.
I'd sort of mentored Lee Charles, and he wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon, and he would be outstanding. Or a year and a half ago, he told me it's clear that the Lord wants me to do something different. I knew it. The minute he said it, I knew.
And that's what made me realize, look, this is what is fun for you. This is what gets you going. And you look forward to this. No matter what, you can let go of your problems you have anywhere else, and you can come and be present here. For me, at least, if you have like an opportunity or something that does that for you, That's what you protect.
Now that he's older and he understands why his mom and dad do what we do and why we lead the life that we lead, it's refreshing to know that he has that same servitude mentality and he'll continue to carry them out.
This is Eduardo Medellin. This is Roy Nichols.
City Kids Adventures wasn't as big as it is now. You know what I mean?
Alex, I want you to tell him a little bit about kind of how it used to be. He laid the foundation for what you guys see today.
I'll start with the porta potty. we had the ghetto toilet. One of those plastic chairs, and they cut a square in the middle and had written with permanent marker, ghetto toilet. You would literally go to the trailer, grab the chair, and do a walk of shame in front of everybody, trying to hide. That's why everybody would try to go at night. But it's crazy to see where it's at.
Where we started at initially is just to get kids outside and have a good time and see the differences. Now there's so much to learn. That evolution of our program is probably the last 15 years where we're really leaning into visiting careers, visiting professionals. We take our summer tours, taking them all over the country so they can see different aspects of our environment.
Welcome.
Our summer trips are a huge part of our program. Getting the kids exposed to other aspects of this wonderful country we live in, because they see the same thing all the time. And as a product of that myself, I realized how limited I was when I got to college.
I've never seen bigger trees in my whole life. Like, literally.
We've gone to Grand Canyon, Niagara Falls, Alaska several times over. We stop at museums, we stop at universities, we stop at work sites. We have different sponsors in their careers, and it helps motivate them.
The cool thing about City Kids is it gives you opportunities to learn and see new things. Colorado is an experience I thought I would never have. I've never really seen snow, skiing on mountains. It was just crazy to me. I learned that there's life outside of my environment, and it was crazy to see different people and how they live.
You know, like we have kids that are getting ready to go off to college. They learn a lot about themselves that short period of time, anywhere from 3 weeks to 5 weeks. Do their own laundry. If they have never done laundry before, they learn how to budget their money because they have a certain amount of money to go. It's kind of like an explosion of opportunity just before they get ready to go off to school.
Me and Coach were talking, and he was like telling us if you have like siblings and stuff, like y'all can invite them. I never wanted my brother to come to the program because me and him always had trouble. I wouldn't say hate because hate's a strong word, but like we really didn't like each other. Because I thought he would ruin it for me because it was so great to me. He came to the program first, and so I was finally like, wow, I could get to have the weekend by myself. I don't have to have him mind me, and that was great. We kind of kept our distance the first couple trips, but as the trips went on, I guess being outdoors brought us together. Going through City Kids and like hunting together, fishing together, camping together, this made us grow stronger because I mean, you can't survive in a blind with someone where you're supposed to be super quiet and fighting with them, you know? Me and my brother are like, we're best friends now. And it also helped at home. Our mom will always have a problem with us arguing and fighting, and it has made it like so much easier for her. I feel like when she saw me and Adrian grow, she was like, I want to grow with them, and we just bond more as a family. Instead of staying in the house separated, we like go out and come together. CKA, it changed my mindset on how I see the world because of all the different environments they put me to.
Kids see some country like none other. We saw 5 bald eagles today on the river when we were coming in, all inspiring to understand the magnitude of the country that we live in. We can teach them the value of where we live and what we do and the opportunities we have here. The inspiration to want to be able to go on and inspire is easy. Another part of a summer trip, we've had several instances where we've had to make a pivot. Denali National Park was another one of those opportunities. We normally would take an 8-hour bus tour in the park and we couldn't get in, so we decided to bike it. We ended up biking a total of 27 miles. The kids had to learn a lot about themselves emotionally and physically because there were instances where kids wanted to quit.
That was hard. That was really hard.
27? 27. I think it was like 1,200 elevation. Getting an Anaheim.
And I was like, how are you gonna know your limits if you never test them? And so the kids learn a valuable lesson. You know, when things get tough, just keep going.
Right here, take kids.
Everyone's always told me, hey, just keep going to school, keep going to school. City Kids helped me learn to progress was all the examples. I've never seen anyone really go to college and like succeed, and two, I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't know what college really was, just that it came after high school. Coming to City Kids not only helped me learn career options, but it also has given me the opportunity to go to different colleges on campus and actually see what life was like there. I got to learn the different pathways that you could take to reinforce your education and go further than that by a career rather than just a job. I never would have known that I love to fish if I hadn't came to City Kids. I didn't even know like that was possible. I never would have known that I like to hunt. I just thought like that was something that people did in TV, and like that I didn't think like people actually went fishing. Polo's a real sport. City Kids has showed me so much.
One of the things in our program that's huge for us is that when we harvest something, we make sure we consume it. For our kids, they take fish home to their parents, they take deer meat home to their parents, teaching the kids the value of self-sufficiency. Harvest something, your duty now is to consume it and honor what you've done.
If we want to have a healthy ecology and wonderful outdoors, we all need to be stewards, even if we're kids in the city. And if they don't have a sense of, and an understanding of nature and ecology and why their choices matter, they're doomed. It's not going to work. If they start to care, then they're going to act. So that's the goal. We want these kids to have the tools to show them, not tell them, what's natural, what's important, what's not, and how they can make the best choices to sustain it.
They think all of their food and their nutrition comes from H-E-B or some type of grocery store. Well, when we camp on this particular ranch, if we want to eat, we have to catch fish. The kids go out and we try and catch as many as we can because, again, we're helping the landowner manage his fishery by removing a certain number of fish. At the same time, though, the kids get to understand and value the process of being consumers and gathering their food. So then when they decide that they want to go fishing on their own or have their parents take their kids fishing, they'll know they have an opportunity to be able to catch a fish. We had a chance to take a salmon fishing trip, sockeye salmon. First time we went on these drift boats, which was new for the kids. First time they fished in waders, first time they fished with fly rods. All of it was a first for them. It was a first for me. Kids took to it like champs. And they probably caught 20 fish before I caught one.
So every time we do have a tug, I have like a self-realization, things I could do differently to be the best kid you could possibly be. That quote specifically, it makes me think, what could I be doing different at home or at school that could help my mom out in some way?
If you make a good choice yesterday, you have positive results today. You didn't make a good choice yesterday, so you got negative results today. We want to help you try and make great choices. Because you guys have got one job as a kid, and what's that job? to be the best kid you could possibly be every day, all day. That's the only job you got.
Sometimes we're pushed to grow up too fast, I guess. You forget, like, you can't enjoy life. Most of the people that I live around, they just do life because they have to do it, not because they enjoy it. And Mr. McNeil's really installed, do things because you love them, don't go through the motions.
When I was growing up, my mom and my dad, they were always telling me, like, maybe you're not good enough for college, or maybe you shouldn't get this education, maybe you should just go work with us. City Kids really made me realize, I guess, my self-worth and my real potential. When I started the McNeils, they really encouraged, be better in school, be the best kid you can possibly be. At some point, I really started to believe it. They said it a lot, so I really took it in, and I was like, maybe I should do better in school. Maybe I should do this. All you hear from the McNeils is like, you deserve to be here. Like, you worked for this. McNeils like really helped me with my self-confidence.
My why is because I know eventually I'm going to be better. Like, I'm going to make a difference in the world. I want to make an impact, not only for myself, but for, like, I want to change people's lives. Either if it's a small difference or a really big difference. I want to impact everybody.
I love the fact that you guys are going to go out and change the world. And all I ask you guys to do is to be the best kids you can be every day, all day. Because it's going to make the world a better place.
Being consistent can give you a lot of door-opening opportunities. Being consistently here all the time, not just because you want to talk to your friends, but to give out positive influence on the younger kids and give them that same opportunity you were given. A door might open for you unexpectedly when you're doing the right thing.
Our program is an outdoor mentoring program. We allow the kids to communicate in a way amongst themselves to where it's always in a positive way, trying to push the narrative to the next step.
The mentorship works well because it's kids talking to other kids.
We got a couple of kids in our program. One kid kind of made some bad choices, let's put it like that, during his educational experience. And so we pair him up with an older kid, and the older kid can talk to him and say, look, little buddy, I've been where you're trying to go. It's not gonna end well. When the younger kid hears that advice coming from an older kid, oftentimes they take it to heart.
So we were in the 6th grade and we had high school kids. And they would show us how to pack, how to pitch a tent, how to gather wood for a fire, how to, hook your bait on your hook for fishing.
A lot of the authorities tell us what to do, how to do it, and when to do it, but they never tell us why. And that's why kids don't really have that intrinsic want to do what needs to be done. Of course, that's their whole thing of the mentorship program, to teach us why, so we know what we can aspire for. So as a leader for myself, I make sure that I kind of tell the people I'm mentoring why they need to do it.
I think that we're really fortunate enough to be back to City Kids in a really different way. We guide when it's hunting season. We're fishing along with the kids, seeing them catch a fish for the first time, be hot and sweaty for the first time. And I like to think that maybe we're like big brother and big sister to them.
I try to focus on how to make them be leaders and teach the younger generation.
I've been with City Kids since I was in the 6th grade. I'm 26 now, so this is my 16th Camp Hawkeye. We want y'all, when y'all get to high school, be those mentors, show the younger kids, because they're gonna have the same question that y'all have right now.
It'd be easy just to say, oh, well, thanks for fun times, and I'm out of here. But they're learning and they're giving back.
What I hope people gain from listening to our story is to do nothing is not an option. Whatever you feel in your community that is going to be successful or that works, get after it and lean into it.
Make that magic happen. Yeah.
It's paying itself forward, and then you'll start to see change. I look at me as that kid we're addressing every day.
Yeah, paddles up.
And how selfish is it for me to take all of the opportunity my high school coaches gave me and just use it for myself? No, I need to pass that on to as many people as I can, kids, to give them that same opportunity that I have. And at the end of the day, we're gonna hopefully make the world a better place.
We were meant to shape young minds. If we can help them, you show them that you care, and they see that, we accomplish what we're meant to do in life. That's the reason why we do it, and it keeps me young.
Kids really do spell love Time.
He did.
And it doesn't matter what you do, but you have to be purposeful and you have to plan. You have to do ththings that take a lot of time, that are challenging for both of you to work through, because that's where a true relationship, I think, is built.
I spent a lot of time with Coach McNeil. I practically lived with them periods throughout the summer, throughout the school year. Like I said, they raised me.
That's Eddie. Here we are in British Columbia, Canada.
Their commitment is unbelievable. They spend every waking minute with those kids. Even when they don't have something planned, the kids are with them at their house. And it's not just during the school year, they're doing the summers. They're doing every day of the week with those kids. It's to see that commitment for so long, and they'll do it till they die.
As we try and give them the gift of time. And along the way, we give them some amazing experiences with that time spent with us and use that to benefit them as they become adults. But ultimately, what the kids are going to really, really remember are the times that you spent with them and the things that you've done with them.
Power of that true relationship of someone who says, listen, I respect you for who you are. What Leon is doing is taking children from all ages and saying, this is a lifelong commitment.
Our kids understand that the time spent with them was not egregious, forced, but it was done willingly because someone felt something for them. They sense that, they feel that. That's what I felt as a kid. Different individuals that spent time with me, it really had an impact with me, and it let me know that I can impact someone else as well. How do you impact? Show up. More than anything else, show up. What ends up happening is a kid will say something like, I can't wait till I'm able to do something like this.
My plans for the future are to continue this thing that my family calls City Kids Adventures.
He had watched his parents exemplify excellence in service and selflessness and what it really means to live that out. What I think that means for the future of City Kids, I think it could not be more exciting.
Thank heavens we have Lee Charles, right, who's chosen that he wants to do this and follow in his parents' footsteps.
He's decided to go into education, which is like his mom and dad, and take City Kids and what we do and make it even better than it is. And it's going to be exciting to watch the maturation of what's to come in the future.
He's so much like Mr. McNeil. Many of the same qualities. I can only hope it stays much of the same. Life is about perspective, and showing these kids all these different perspectives from different ways of life will only make them better in understanding this world.
We should have a program like this in every city in the country. The model, can you replicate it? I wish I could say to you that, we could stamp these out. You got to have the human element to it. It takes that dedication, and you have to live it. Leon and Letitia choose to live it. And that's why I think they've gotten supporters like myself and my wife, because we want to live it with them.
Why can't more cities across America have a program like this?
How do you do that at scale? Lee Charles brings in some new ways of thinking. I think he can take what they've built, that solid, immovable, and shakable base, and can then really innovate, whether that's innovating around the number of kids they reach or the extent of the age groups, how they follow on. I don't know. City Kids will go to the next level for sure with him at the helm.
Once you enjoy learning, the world becomes your playground. You enjoy taking a trip back home and seeing it from a whole different perspective. I mean, I'm 22 years old. I haven't done the family. I haven't done the architecture. I haven't done the captain. And my life has been giving other people potential. And I know that y'all have the potential to get there.
I think he can figure out doing more education in terms of, let me explain to you how we do this thing called City Kids. Here's the foundation, here's the structure of how you do that, and have value added to your city or your community.
we are incorporating so many other new activities, new places to visit, as well as building a house in South Padre Island for families and the kids to go fishing in the summer. Now we're building dorms in our house so we can house more kids, but we have really grown into something that I think is going to be around for many more years.
Say it again. See y'all in a minute. Hold it down. This is a traditional father-son little quiet time this morning before the kids get moving around. This is a little spot over here, kind of reminds us of Louisiana.
Back in the body.
Exactly. It's a great time though. And, this is where we start the process of passing it on. Always a good time to reflect and look at where we're at and life and Mother Nature. No better place to do it than right here in Mother Nature.
It's going to be very, very refreshing to be looking down on him someday and watch his accomplishments. My hope and goal for him and his mom is that he makes the world a better place. And I know that this is my life. It's a purpose-driven life. This is what I will do until I can no longer breathe. That's why I was put on earth, to be able to give kids a chance and pay it forward. It's a gift. It's a gift.
That's enough money in the bill.
Last words?
I gotta pee.
Me too.
Get you some of that. Get you some of that, Morris. Oh, get you some of that. Get you some of that. Like right now, we're sitting here and having a conversation, our kids in the water. I'm no more worried about them than, anybody. Because by the time we get to our summer camps, the kids have to be very, very comfortable in the water.
There's nothing really to record. Guess I just have to talk to myself.
That's a big rig right there. Golly.
Welcome. It's my RV MTV crib tour. 60-inch plasma TV. Welcome to the restroom. You want to see it flash? Time to go to bed, so I'm gonna need you to get out. Get out of me, swamp.